Trump announces massive tariffs impacting 185 countries as global stock markets fall after Trump's latest tariffs. Trump imposes 26% reciprocal tariffs on India. New Delhi's first response to Trump's sweeping tariffs. Government carefully examining implications of Trump's measures. PM Modi arrives in Bangkok for the 6th BIMSTEC Summit. India and Thailand ink 6 pacts in maritime security, IT and other sectors. Death toll rises to over 3,000 from Myanmar earthquake. Conditions may worsen with unseasonal rainfall predicted. EM Jaishankar's cherry-picking jab at Bangladesh's Yunus, rebuttal to remarks over India's northeastern sister states.
April 2nd, 2025. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world.
The top story this evening on India Global. The Trump administration's bold sweeping tariffs on imports from key allies have ignited a global economic firestorm. Allies from Europe all the way to Asia are in fact hitting back with retaliatory duties while the markets continue sliding. Investors fleeing US stocks, fearing a crisis. Tariffs as well could spike prices up to 54%. That's right, up to 54% on everyday goods, shaking industries from auto to retail. The ripple effect? Well, consumer wallets squeezed, a supply chain shattered, and global trade teetering on the edge. This is not just a trade war, it's proving to be a tectonic shift in the world economy. And to decode the fine print of these so-called discounted Trump tariffs, Alexander Slater joins us from Washington, D.C. He's the Managing Director of Global Policy Forecasting and Strategy firm Capstone and the former MD of US-India Business Council. We are also joined by Mr. Rajiv Arya, Baker Tilly ASA India's National Accounting and Business Support Head. Thank you so much for taking out the time, gentlemen. On to you, Mr. Slater. How do you assess the long-term impacts of Trump's reciprocal tariffs, especially on India's trade relationship with Washington? Also, do you see this as a temporary challenge, or is it more of a structural shift altogether?
Thanks so much for the question and for having me on to discuss this very important topic today. It's unclear the endurance of this initial move by the Trump administration. Yes, it's true that they have imposed a blanket 10% tariff across 185 countries. It's also true that about 60 of those countries have tariffs above that rate. And while the president has discussed that these tariffs are the result of unfair trade practices, whether they be tariffs or non-tariff trade barriers, it appears that the science, or at least the analysis behind how the administration came to impose specific tariffs on these 60 countries had nothing to do specifically with these trade measures, but had to do with the trade deficit that the United States has in terms of goods with those countries. So as we think through this, it's important to decode what's actually happening here. It seems that the Trump administration has imposed tariffs on countries that are half the rate of the trade deficit, the percentage of the trade deficit that exists between the United States and the other country. And so in India's case, for example, they only looked at the goods trades deficit, and then they divided that by the exports to the United States and came up with the number of 52%, and they divided that by 2 to apply this 26% rate across goods exported from India. Now, again, it's also important to note that these don't come into effect until actually April 9th. The blanket 10% tariff comes on April 5th, and the ultimate reciprocal tariffs come in on April 9th. And so there is time between now and then for India as well as other countries to make moves that may allow President Trump or may convince or persuade President Trump to reduce that amount. So it remains to be seen how enduring this will be. And it certainly looks like, if you take the calculation behind these ostensible reciprocal tariffs at face value, that one way to do that would be by taking steps in the immediate week to reduce the trade deficit.
That's in fact a very important point you raise, Mr. Slater. There is always, there seems to be some wiggle room as the tariffs don't kick in till the 9th of April. But we also know that with Donald Trump, it's always advisable to be prepared for the worst. In fact, taking this to Mr. Arya, what steps should Indian businesses take to mitigate the financial impact of these tariffs if they come to pass, which does not really seem to be the case in the Trump 2.0 administration, Mr. Arya, please.
Well, I've always believed that, any adverse situation, if it's adverse, I don't know, but any adverse situation like this is also a reason to be feeling more opportunistic, to redo what we have or undo what we have not done well in the past. I think this tariff has been, across the board to many countries. I don't see why just India is going to be impacted by the whole thing. But having said that, the important thing is, what do we do? What we need to do is really is to reinvent ourselves in terms of efficiencies, in terms of technology usage, in terms of policies. I think India has been lagging on those issues for quite a number of years, Maybe we took too much for granted. And with the world having moved on, this is just an alarm bell to say that it's time to just redefine and redo our strategies to get on top of things and be there, that we can absorb these kind of costs very easily. Now, be it about technology, new markets, incentives, get our small and medium enterprises to flourish. All those are measures which are really going to go a very long way to make India very competitive. And as far as these tariffs are concerned, I think they are not going to be there for long. If one president can come and do it, there could be another president who could undo it. But having said that, let's prepare that that doesn't happen. And what do we need to do to fight this? I think we can do a lot.
Very interesting point you raised there. We need to rethink and reshape our policy approach. I'll take that to Mr. Slater. Mr. Slater, now Trump's announcements we've been seeing heavy disruptions worldwide, in fact, in supply chains. Now, what steps are countries and companies actually taking to minimize these risks and also maintain their competitive edge in global markets?
So I just refer to something I was also talking about earlier. If you go back to the inauguration, we came out with a forecast that suggested that we expected President Trump to impose a 10% blanket tariff on all countries, a universal tariff, and then to, in certain cases, impose higher tariffs on countries' goods, as well as initiate product-specific investigations for unfair trade practices. Since then, he's done all of that, and yesterday's move really confirms the 10% universal tariff as well as the higher tariffs on other countries. In terms of responding, there does seem to be the ability for countries, or at least a hint, that countries may be able to avoid the reciprocal tariffs through increasing their purchases of U.S. goods by reducing the trade deficit that they have with the United States. It's not guaranteed. I assume that those are conversations that are happening behind closed doors. But if you look at the way, again, that the Trump administration calculated the ostensible reciprocal tariff rates, it is heavily related to the trade deficit. And the Trump administration looks at the trade deficit as a proxy for unfair trade practices. One of the ways that I think that countries can mitigate this is by increasing their purchases of U.S. goods. That's what I think is the right way forward.
Mr. Arya, I'd like to ask you here, you spoke about finding advantages and using disadvantages to sort of turning them into your advantage. Now, which sectors do you see or could possibly see an unexpected boost despite these challenges?
across the board. I mean, there is no specific sector. We already have advantage in a few sectors, which is already there. The pharma, anyways, an advantage sector from that point of view. But across the board, I would say, I mean, there is no end to what can be done across the sectors. I mean, our Prime Minister, I remember, said that we really want to give a boost to the toy sector. I mean, that was a small talk that the Prime Minister has raved and ranted. But what have we done about it? We have not done anything about it. Like that, if I keep adding and counting endless amount of things that we can do, because the amount of resources we have, the amount of talent we have, the amount of ability we have, the advantages as a manufacturing
Okay,
unit that we have,
advantages all around in all sectors, says Mr. Arya.
all sectors.
I'll need to move on due to paucity of time, but one very quick question for both of you. Do you think that the tariffs will actually be imposed? Will they kick in on the 9th of April? Mr. Slater, quick reply from you. Will they or will they not?
It all depends on what India does behind the scenes over the next week.
Mr. Arya, what do you think?
Yes, for a short while.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Now, moving on, let's dive deeper into Trump's tariffs shaking up the global scene. The Department of Commerce is on high alert, meticulously analyzing the ripple effects of these Trump's latest trade moves. Keeping in view of the Viksit Bharat vision, the department is also, in fact, working very closely with key players from Indian industry leaders to even exporters, gathering critical insights on how these tariffs could, in fact, impact them. They're not just playing defense. Officials are also on the lookout for fresh opportunities that could emerge from this bold shift in U.S. trade policy. For more on this, NDTV's Himanshu Shekhar brings us the latest. Himanshu, what's the latest you're picking up? We saw a press release by the Ministry of Commerce come in only last hour. What's the latest and what can we expect?
Well, I just spoke to a senior Commerce Ministry official just a few minutes ago, and he said that there are a couple of things which are very important to understand how India actually assesses the impact of the reciprocal tariff that has been imposed. The first thing he said was the fact that in the executive order issued by US President, in clause 4, there is a provision that if a country against whom the reciprocal tariff has been imposed, if it addresses the concerns of the United States in terms of addressing the questions that US has with regard to a tariff that has been fixed in a certain sector, then the US President has the right to actually revisit the tariff rates, and US President can in fact authorize a reduction in the reciprocal tariff that has been imposed. India is confident that so far it is in fact in a very unique position now as far as the bilateral trade agreement talks are concerned. India is the only country which is now in talks with the US for a bilateral trade agreement, and Commerce Ministry sources are telling us that bilateral trade agreement talks are a very important platform to address the concerns both India and US have with regard to the tariff issue. India also has some concerns about some of the non-tariff barriers that US has imposed, and India is confident that all these apprehensions that Trump administration has with regard to the imposition of high tariffs by India will be addressed through these talks. And India is hopeful that by September, most of these differences on the tariff will be resolved. So at the moment, India officially is saying that we are studying the implications, but officials tell us that we are confident that the concerns that Trump administration has will be addressed through these talks that we are having towards the bilateral trade agreement. And secondly, the US President, of course, is authorized under Clause 4 of the executive order that if India addresses the concern that US has with regard to the tariff issue, then the US President is authorized to actually reduce the reciprocal tariff. So we have keeping the fingers crossed, but at the moment, India, of course, is confident as far as dealing with or addressing the concerns on the tariff front with the US is concerned.
Well, thank you so much for that. Keeping the fingers crossed. The world's actually keeping the fingers crossed. With that, it's time to dip into a short break. We'll be right back.
Right now, terrible things are happening to donkeys. They work all day in the blistering sun without food or water. They're suffering silently, while their backs are breaking. Some are being abandoned and will be left to die alone. But the worst sanctuary, because terrible things are happening to donkeys. Please, do something incredible for them right now.
Hey, look at our Simply Safe home security system.
Let's install it.
We need another camera.
What for?
They're collectibles. What?
Now you've got a camera each.
Yay!
Systems start from under £200 when you buy a professional monitoring plan. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Visit postoffice.co.uk/over50s.
Welcome back. You're watching India Global with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Now we turn our focus to Bangkok, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is to attend the 6th edition of the BIMSTEC Summit, where ahead of the summit, India and Thailand have in fact signed 6 MoUs in the presence of PM Modi and his Thai counterpart. The PM is also scheduled to meet King Maha Vajiralongkorn. The BIMSTEC Summit will focus on regional prosperity, resilience and economic cooperation. The summit also, in fact, marks the first in-person gathering of BIMSTEC leaders since 2018. That's correct. It's the first in-person meeting of BIMSTEC leaders since 2018. In the light of Thailand's recovery efforts from a recent devastating earthquake, PM Modi has expressed condolences for the victims, adding that he is, in fact, praying for the speedy recovery of all those who were injured. Following his engagements in Thailand, PM Modi will then proceed to Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, NDTV's Vishal Vivek joins us for the latest on ground. Vishal, India and Thailand have signed 6 agreements in various fields. Now, these include IT, maritime, MSME, handicrafts, and even the handloom sectors. What more can you tell us about these agreements on the sidelines, of the BIMSTEC Summit?
While the focus of the BIMSTEC event lies on the fact that whether there will be a meet between Mohammed Yunus of Bangladesh and PM Modi, but at the same time, there have been some key agreements, as you mentioned, between India and Thailand, 6 of them actually, and they cover from MSMEs to handlooms to many other sectors. And Prime Minister Modi has clearly said that they want this partnership to be elevated to the strategic level. So that is a very strong statement coming from India. They want to deepen the ties between the countries. And they've highlighted, Prime Minister Modi has highlighted that there are some cultural threads connecting both the countries that go way back beyond like 3,000 to 4,000 years. He has given the instance of Ramayana, which has its Thai version as well. And the same Ramayana was displayed in front of Prime Minister Modi today. So a lot of cultural engagements as well, as far as the, and also the fact that there were 6 agreements signed. So all of that has been happening, and the big meeting is also expected to happen.
Vishal, very interesting you mentioned Ramakien. For prospective viewers, it's the Thai version of Ramayana. These cultural ties are very important, you know, be it this, the recital of Ramakien or the Prime Minister, in fact, going to the earthquake site and offering his condolences. Vishal, can you elaborate on the significance of these cultural exchanges in strengthening India-Thailand relations, and especially how PM Modi has been driving them forward?
Exactly, that's exactly right, Arjun. So in the last 3 to 4 years, there have been a lot of these instances, a lot of these initiatives where Prime Minister Modi has gone to a foreign country and exhibited what are the depths and what are the significances of the rich cultural heritage that India possesses, and has always highlighted the common threads, such as the one when we talked about Ramayana. So just about today, I'll give you a list of things that happened when Prime Minister Modi met the Indian diaspora there. So there was an event of Garba from Gujarat. The local Thai community chanted some mantras. The Sikh community gifted a memento with Golden Temple. Navjar mantras for Jain community was cited. And a Gita was gifted by the ISKCON community. So a slew of cultural heritage exchanges happened when PM Modi met the Indian diaspora here, highlighting the fact that the Asian diaspora is quite connected, as the at least 100-year-old saying goes, that Asia is deeply connected at all levels.
Thank you
and
so much.
Earlier I spoke with one of the leaders of the Indian diaspora community, so let's listen in. With one of the leaders of the Indian diaspora here in Bangkok and one of the leaders of the gems and jewelry industry in the city. Let's go and speak with him, because right now he met with the PM here and learned about his experiences. So, can you tell me your name?
I'm Atul Jogani, President of the Indian Thai Diamond and Colorstone Association. With me is all my diamond traders with here. Sakesh is our director. We had a great experience. We saw, he came there and we saw a Ramayana with him, and it was a dance with Kathak and the Thai style, Thai dance together. It was one of the most beautiful Ramayana we've ever seen in our life. And it's great that he's been here, he's come here, and we are hoping that there will be some treaty signed between two countries. We are the biggest importers of, we make 30% of imports from India. 30% of the exports from India is gems and jewelry, which we lead in Thailand. And we hope that some treaty is signed by which a lot of colorstone will go from here.
So this treaty would be between India and Thailand, right?
Thailand and India. And we are hoping that colorstone starts going from Thailand to India, which will help making Indian jewelry colorful as their culture.
Were there any discussions on this front with the PM? Something?
In the next 2 days, there will be bilateral discussions.
Talk going, and there'll be, of course, we'll be talking about, we have presented our things to the Thai side, that to talk about the trade between Thailand and India about gems and jewelry.
And his aura and his charismatic personality was amazing. When he walked in the hall, Atul uncle was sitting in the front and we were there. We felt the energy. You know, he had a lot of work last night from what we heard, and amazing energy he had. It was very nice.
That the aura was different, and I think everybody was, very. We don't know what to speak, how to describe about it.
Okay, so thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, that was my colleague Vishal Vivek, who's been getting us updates ever since last Friday when the devastating earthquake took place. Moving on, but staying with the BIMSTEC Summit, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has delivered a sharp rebuttal to Bangladesh's Chief Advisor Yunus days after his described India's northeast landlocked and sister states positioned Bangladesh as the guardian of ocean access for the region. Jaishankar now highlighted India's strategic role in the Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation, or BIMSTEC, as it's known, putting the spotlight on the country's 6,500-kilometer coastline and its geographical linkages with 5 BIMSTEC members. Nonetheless, the EM also highlighted that India believes that cooperation is an integral outlook, not one subject to cherry-picking, as Yunus did. And sticking with the nation, the death toll from a devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake that struck Myanmar nearly a week ago has surpassed 3,000 as search and rescue efforts continue and teams recover more and more bodies. The quake, one of the strongest in the nation's history, has left a trail of destruction in its wake, demolishing numerous buildings and critical infrastructure. Now, according to a statement from the ruling military junta, approximately 4,715 people have been injured, while 341 individuals remain unaccounted for even to this day. Now, the disaster has overwhelmed the country, compounding the challenges faced by survivors and relief workers alike. Conditions may worsen further as weather officials have forecasted unseasonal rainfall from Sunday all the way through the 11th of April posing yet another threat to the hardest hit regions. Now, this could significantly also hinder massive relief efforts which are already underway. Well, that's all we have for you this Thursday. We'll see you on Monday. Take care and have a wonderful weekend.
When I woke up, they said, Alyssa, you've got leukemia. We found out that the chemo wasn't working.
Cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK, but innovative new treatments could help beat cancer for more children like Alyssa.
I'm cancer-free now.
Text, call or search to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. So together, we can save more lives.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with funeral costs or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements or for some of life's big moments. Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK. You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Sahil Jain was not just helping her bring the gold into the country, but was also, of course, helping her dispose this gold here in Bengaluru. And then, with the money that they got, he was then helping her in, moving this money through Hawala transactions. And this amounts to over 38 crores is the information that we have now picked up through this remand copy. And more importantly, he was getting a commission based on every time he helped Rania Rao. So this is, of course, an explosive piece of information that they've gotten hold of. Apart from the DRI, the CBI parallelly is investigating a larger, gold smuggling racket in the country from the lens of what has, been discovered or unearthed in the Rania Rao case. So it is a very big development. And another crucial development today in connection to this particular case is also how the Karnataka High Court has now ordered that the Kempegowda International Airport, where she was initially arrested from, should maintain all the CCTV footage from the time of the incident, because on a monthly basis the CCTV is deleted and there was a petition that was filed. Why this is important to this particular case is that there was a little bit of the information that came in that whether she was picked up from the flight directly, because this was the claim that she made in her complaint to the DRI after she was arrested. But the original claim that came in was that she was arrested from the customs office or that location where the customs checking happened. So this CCTV preservation, of course, is another important development, and how that pans out when evidence is produced in court remains to be seen.
Thank you so much for joining us with all those details at this moment. My colleague Deepak there, in fact, accessing the modus operandi as far as that was employed for this gold smuggling. Moving on, there is some breaking news coming in at this moment. All right, now the newly launched party, the TVK in Tamil Nadu, actor and the chief of this party, Vijay, has spoken on the Waqf showdown, and he has said he demands the Waqf bill to be withdrawn. In fact, Vijay also said Waqf bill is a push for majority in politics. Waqf bill challenges the tenets of democracy is the charge. So, almost more or less all Dravidian parties, whether it's the DMK, the AIDMK or now the TVK also, in fact, against the Waqf bill. Remember the DMK being the ruling party in Tamil Nadu and having the majority of the MPs has taken a very hardened stand, and ahead of the elections in 2026 in the state of Tamil Nadu, the TVK chief, who's a newly formed party now, also making his stand very clear as far as the Waqf bill is concerned, asking for it to be withdrawn. All right, so he has not only said that this is a push towards majority in politics, he's also said that this bill should be withdrawn. He slammed the BJP for what he calls, a bid of BJP's bid for majoritarian politics. Let me go bring in my colleague Sam Daniel at this moment on this story. Sam, more or less all Dravidian parties have taken a stand against the Waqf bill. TVK also, in fact, towing that line.
That's right. That's exactly what TVK Chief Active Vijay Ankit is pointing out, that when the entire opposition is up in arms against this proposed amendment, why is the BJP going ahead like this? He calls this an expose of the BJP's what he calls majoritarian politics, and he says that the party ought to withdraw this immediately and that his party would stand in support with the Muslim community in Tamil Nadu. And he raises a few questions. He says it challenges the basic tenets of democracy in India and challenges the dignity of the constitution. He also says if this particular amendment is meant to improve the conditions of the Waqf board, then he's asking why not the BJP have even a single MP to table this particular amendment in the parliament. And he raises a series of questions, and this comes, of course, in Tamil Nadu's context ahead of the elections in 2026, in which TVK Chief Active Vijay would be making his electoral debut along with his party. And from day one, Vijay also, as a party, the General Council had adopted a resolution asking the centre earlier to withdraw this particular proposed amendment to the Waqf Act. And he says that would continue. And in Tamil Nadu, he says already the Tamil Nadu Assembly, besides other states like Karnataka and Kerala too, have adopted similar resolutions against this move, and the centre should learn lessons and leave it that way. Of course, the BJP denies these allegations, saying that it's meant to not interfere with the religious aspect with respect to Muslims, but it only tries to streamline and regularize the administration of the Waqf bodies across India.
Right. Sam Daniel, my colleague there, reporting from Chennai. Thank you so much for joining us at this moment. All right, with that, we're slipping into a very short break. News and updates will continue. Stay tuned.
Right now, terrible things are happening to donkeys. They work all day in the blistering sun without food or water. They're suffering silently while their backs are breaking. Some are being abandoned and will be left to die alone. A donkey sanctuary, because terrible things are happening to donkeys. Please, do something incredible for them right now.
Hey, look at our Simply Safe home security system.
Let's install it.
We need another camera.
What for?
They're collectibles. What?
Now you've got a camera each.
Yay!
Systems start from under £200 when you buy a professional monitoring plan. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With ultra smart blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New ultra smart blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Visit postoffice.co.uk/over50s.
One of the worst earthquakes hit Thailand recently, and the tragedy is still unfolding. You can see some sniffer dogs here. Authorities have told me that they had located some vital signs, but they have not been able to pull anyone out. Question as to how did the 4 Chinese nationals manage to get inside such a highly fortified area. They managed to get in. They were successful in getting some 32 documents that established that Chinese connection to this site. It's also about a larger conspiracy that could be at hand. Whether the Chinese materials were substandard, all of that will have to be investigated.
Sir, you've written a book. Your book is about enlightened leadership. It talks about the transition from monarchy to democracy.
This is absolutely unique in the world to have a democracy start this way, to be imposed by a reigning monarch at the peak of his popularity. Indian values would have automatically permeated within me and shaped me. We are neighbors by geography, but we are friends by choice.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Let's now talk about West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, who has in fact taken on the judiciary. Quite angry, Mamata Banerjee, after the Supreme Court verdict which has dismissed 25,000 teachers in West Bengal. The Chief Minister said that there are tainted judges only transferred. Why are teachers not transferred? High Court judge who gave the first order is in the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's a conspiracy by the BJP and the CPM was her charge.
তার মানে কি 26,000-25,000 টিচারকে যদি বাদ দিয়ে দেওয়া হয়, তর্কের খাতিরে ধরে নিলাম বাদ দিয়ে দিয়েছেন, স্কুল কলেজগুলো পড়াবে কে? তার মানে কি এডুকেশন সিস্টেমটাকে কোলাপস করতে চাইছেন বিজেপি সিপিএম? একবার আপনাদের লজ্জা হলো না? একজন বিচারকের বাড়ি থেকে যদি কোটি কোটি টাকা পাওয়া যায়, 15 কোটি সম্ভবত, যেটা জানতে পেরেছি এখনো পর্যন্ত, তার শাস্তি যদি শুধু ট্রান্সফার হয়, তাহলে আমার এই 25,000 ভাই বোন তাদেরও ট্রান্সফার করতে পারতো। লেট দ্য গুড সেন্স প্রিভেইল। আর একটা কথা বলি আপনাদের, হাইকোর্টে এই ভার্ডিক্টটা প্রথম দিয়েছিলেন বিজেপির একজন, যিনি এখন এমপি হয়েছেন, জাজমেন্ট জুডিশিয়ারি ছেড়ে দিয়ে বিজেপির এমপি হয়েছে, গাঙ্গুলি না ডাঙ্গুলি। আজকে তারা কোন মুখে বড় বড় কথা বলে? তাদের দায়বদ্ধতা নেই, দায়বদ্ধতা ছিল না, এবং আমি বিশ্বাস করি এটা বিজেপি করিয়েছে এবং সিপিএম করিয়েছে।
around 25,000, over 25,000 teaching and non-teaching staff will not be eligible to be there in the schools that are run by West Bengal government. So of course there is a big tension on the West Bengal government to fill up those vacant posts within the next 3 months as per the Supreme Court order. But Chief Minister essentially pointing fingers at the BJP and CPIM in a way to deflect that blame, to tell the people that it was not her government alone, but it's the BJP and the CPIM role as well, because the person who filed the first petition before the Calcutta High Court happens to be a former Kolkata mayor, Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya, a practicing lawyer, and who was and is part of the CPIM. And on the other hand, of course, the BJP too has come out lashing out at the Chief Minister, demanding her resignation over this entire fiasco that played out after Partha Chatterjee's arrest. So the Trinamool Congress government, which will be going into elections early next year, essentially trying to keep the people of West Bengal aware that even the opposition parties had role in this entire episode where so many jobs have been put on hold. Now, of course, in the next 3 months, we will know how the West Bengal government decides to go about doing the recruitment, because Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, a short while ago, while addressing the media, has said that the SSC is an autonomous body. Their stand has been communicated to the SSC chairman, and what process will be followed for that recruitment, whether there will be an age relaxation, how they will, identify which candidates will sit for this exam from the ones who have lost their job, who is tainted, who is not tainted.
Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, in fact, was speaking about the recruitment which has been cancelled by the Supreme Court. BJP has hit out at the West Bengal government and said that because of the irregularities conducted in this entire recruitment, now there are 25,000 people and their families which are suffering. Moving on, the Delhi NCR, in fact, on the Delhi NCR firecracker ban, there have been pleas which have been filed in the Supreme Court against the ban. The Supreme Court said that the right to live in clean environment is essential part of fundamental rights. Nothing green about green crackers. Don't mislead people by calling them green crackers.
Supreme Court today has rejected several petitions that were in fact moved by traders and manufacturers of firecrackers against the year-round ban that has been earlier imposed by the Supreme Court across Delhi NCR. The Supreme Court said that it will not go back on its decision to order a firecracker ban throughout Delhi NCR throughout the year, and in fact it said that it is in fact the duty of these firecracker traders and businessmen also to, as citizens of India, to ensure that pollution levels in the city go down. And the Supreme Court has today, well, in fact, also noted that green crackers, green firecrackers are there's nothing green about them, and in fact has asked the manufacturers to do better research and come up with better alternatives. And in fact, it has said that it should stop misleading people, saying that green firecrackers don't cause pollution. They do cause pollution. Today, the Supreme Court went through the NERI report on green firecrackers, and which said that green firecrackers cause 30% less emission than the regular firecrackers. Noting this, the Supreme Court said that there is nothing, in fact, nothing green about green firecrackers, and said that it will not allow firecrackers in Delhi NCR, and curbing down the pollution is in fact the priority of the top court in the city.
For Monu, every step is agony. But he's forced to carry heavy loads and bricks up narrow, steep flights of stairs, hour after hour, day after day. Life can be cruel and short for hard-working donkeys like Monu. With little food, water, or rest, they must keep going no matter what. Crude harnesses cut into their flesh. Horrific wounds and injuries go untreated. And when they've given all they can, many will simply be abandoned. You could help us treat more sick and injured donkeys. We won't stop until each one has a good life. But we can't do it without you. So please call 0800 035 9305 or text STEP 6 to 78866 and give £2 a month. Your help will be the first step towards a better life for brave donkeys like Monu.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements or for some of life's big moments. Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes.
When I woke up, they said, Alyssa, you've got leukemia. We found out that the chemo wasn't working.
Cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK, but innovative new treatments could help beat cancer for more children like Alyssa.
I'm cancer-free now.
Text, call or search to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. So together, we can save more lives.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
I like making sure I've got all the right tools for the job. And now that I'm 50, that means looking after the life I've built, protecting my lot if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Cover Today has given me genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4733 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Sir, you've written a book. Your book is about enlightened leadership. It talks about the transition from monarchy to democracy.
This is absolutely unique in the world to have a democracy start this way, to be imposed by a reigning monarch at the peak of his popularity. Indian values would have automatically permeated within me and shaped me. We are neighbors by geography, but we are friends by choice.
Emergency landing at their Waqf airport in Turkey due to medical emergency. Unfortunately, the aircraft later encountered technical issues as well, leaving over 260 passengers stranded for more than 18 hours. Passengers have reported inadequate arrangements, including limited communication, inedible food and no accommodations. Virgin Atlantic has apologized and stated they are working on resolving the situation and ensuring passengers can continue their journey as soon as possible. Airline has said in a statement, and I'm quoting them here, "We are urgently looking at all available options to ensure our customers can continue their journey to Mumbai as quickly as possible while our engineers carry out necessary technical inspections of the aircraft." Time for some commercial messages. We are back in a short while.
Right now, terrible things are happening to donkeys. They work all day in the blistering sun, without food or water. They're suffering silently, while their backs are breaking. Some are being abandoned and will be left to die alone. But the Waqf sanctuary, because terrible things are happening to donkeys. Please, do something incredible for them right now.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me,
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with funeral costs or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
The question is what exactly is happening to this territory. हम नॉर्मलसी के खिलाफ नहीं हैं, मगर नॉर्मलसी से पहले स्टेटस को होना चाहिए. हमारी जमीन हमें वापस मिलनी चाहिए. We should get our land back.
जब से भारत आजाद हुआ तब से हमारी सीमाओं पर रक्षा करने की जिम्मेदारी भारतीय सेनाओं की थी. ऐसी कौन सी मजबूरी थी जब एक्साइज चीन का एरिया किसके समय वो चीन ने हथिया लिया, किसकी सरकार थी? कब हिंदू चीनी भाई भाई कहते रहे और पीठ पे छुरा घोंपने का काम किया था? किसकी सरकार थी? कौन वो नेता थे जो डोकलाम की घटना के समय चाइना के अधिकारियों के साथ चाइनीज सूप पीते रहे और सेना के जवानों के साथ जाकर खड़े नहीं हुए? वो कौन सी फाउंडेशन है जिसके चाइना के अधिकारियों से पैसा लिया गया और आज तक जवाब नहीं दिया गया? क्या राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन ने वो पैसा लिया था? तो क्यों पैसा लिया था? किस काम के लिए पैसा लिया था? आज मोदी जी की सरकार में हम ये कह सकते हैं, डोकलाम की घटना के समय भी मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया तो भारत की सेना के जवानों ने चीन के सैनिकों को दिया है. प्रधानमंत्री जी स्वयं सीमा पर भी गए, सेना का मनोबल बढ़ाया. रक्षा मंत्री जी गए, 1 इंच जमीन भी भारत की कोई नहीं हथिया पाया तो भारत की सेना ने वो करके दिखाया, तो मोदी सरकार में करके दिखाया है.
Aishwarya, my colleague, is on the phone line for more on this story. Aishwarya, now this has been a continuous face-off. Every time Rahul Gandhi has taken or has put this charge on the government, it has been vehemently denied.
Certainly, and this is not the first time when the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, had claimed that China had taken over squares of kilometers of Indian territory. This time it was Rahul Gandhi, while speaking during the 0 hour, had again claimed that China has taken over 4,000 square kilometers of Indian territory and that reciprocal tariffs or import duties imposed by the US would completely devastate the Indian economy, as he demanded answers from the government over these issues. Time and again, the Bharatiya Janata Party had stated that not even a single inch of land has been taken by the Chinese. It is just Congress who is spreading fake narrative and fake information to the people of this country, and that too on the floor of the House from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, different leaders. It has been seen often that same stance has been taken. The BJP leader Anurag Thakur today hit back at Rahul Gandhi over his remarks during the 0 hour in the Lok Sabha, saying that not even a single inch of the land has been given to China under BJP rule, and it was under Congress rule at that point of time when China had occupied the Indian territory. It is the ruling party who also stated that the country's good fortune, that the PM of this country is Narendra Modi, before whom the world bows down. It is during the 0 hour Gandhi also slammed the government over celebration of 70th anniversary of diplomatic ties of India and China. And at this point of time, Vikram Mistry, the foreign secretary, was seen cutting a cake with the Chinese ambassador, and therefore Rahul Gandhi raised the question that what is government stance on China taking the territory. So certainly it's a clear war of words that erupted today in the Lok Sabha, but a same stance was taken as far as the government is concerned, with not even a single inch being given to China.
Thank you for joining us with all those details. Aishwarya, my colleague, reporting on this story. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. News and updates will continue here on NDTV. Stay tuned.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements, new appliances, a car, or for some of life's big moments. So even if you've had problems with credit before, Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes. Evlo, your future in your hands.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK. You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to the Southern View. I'm Peter Raghav. Mots lined up on the show this evening, but first let's take you through the headlines we're tracking this hour. The Apex Court sends out a stern message to the Telangana government, says no more cutting of trees in the contentious land adjacent to the Hyderabad University. Asks the state government why the urgency. Rania Rao smuggled 49.3 kilograms of gold from November last year, and the third accused in the case organized over 38 crore rupees in hawala transactions to purchase and sell that gold. DRI reveals more details in the case. India responds with caution to the Trump tariff offensive, says it's carefully examining the implications. Well, first up, a quick check of the latest in the Rania Rao gold smuggling case. The submission by the DRI in the request for extension of remand of the third accused in the case, Sahil Jain, states that Rania Rao, with the help of Sahil Jain, smuggled 49.3 kilograms of gold into India from Dubai from November of last year, and that Sahil settled over 38 crore rupees through hawala transactions for the purchase and sale of that gold. Multiple dimensions to this case of Rania, who's, remember, the stepdaughter of a DGP rank officer in Karnataka. Joining me live, our correspondent Deepak Bupanna, who's been tracking that case very closely. Deepak, give us the details from the DRI's submission before the court and what else you're picking up on the case.
Very good evening, Avira. Yes, very key development here. Sahil Jain, who's the third accused in this particular case. The remand copy that we've accessed reveals some details which, of course, throw light into how big this entire case is. Because up until now, initially the probe was revolving around the 14 kilos of gold that she was caught bringing into India. But right now, details that the DRI has managed to get over the past few weeks, and also this particular statement and the remand copy does suggest that it is about 50 kilograms of gold in total that they have actually brought time and again to India. Not just that, this particular individual here has helped her actually dispose of this gold, then get hold of money, and then through hawala transactions actually move the money as well. He was also getting a commission out of this, so this is a very important development which will not just help the DRI in investigations further, but also the CBI, which is also parallelly investigating the larger gold smuggling racket in the country. Another key development today in this particular case is the High Court of Karnataka actually ordering the Kempegowda International Airport to preserve the CCTV footage, because once in a month they continue to delete CCTV footage. But because this entire case began at the international airport, the mother of Rania Rao had moved court asking for the CCTV to be preserved. Why this is important is because while the DRI claims that she was making her way out of the aircraft towards the customs checkpoint where she was actually caught hiding the gold, but in one of the letters that she had written alleging harassment by the DRI, she had claimed that she was picked up directly from the flight itself. So the CCTV, of course, will become crucial evidence in the days to come. How the DRI and how Rania Rao and her advocates make use of it in the coming days, that remains to be seen.
Important points that you're making there, Deepak Bupana. As you rightly pointed out, this pretty much quantifies the extent of the case and also gives a quantity to those hawala transactions that have been alleged. Thanks very much. We'll keep a close track of that. Now to our big focus this evening, more trouble for the Revanth Reddy government in the controversy over clearing of trees in the nearly 400 acres of land adjoining the Hyderabad University. The Apex Court today took suo motu cognizance of the case and halted the culling of trees and clearing of land by the Telangana government in the land where there have been, remember, strong protests by students and opposition political parties. On the Supreme Court's orders, the Registrar of the Telangana High Court visited the site and filed a stern report to the Apex Court that trees have been cleared in 100 acres of land, following which the Apex Court made sharp observations and asked the Chief Secretary why was such an urgency to take up the activity. The court's observations and intervention come as an enormous embarrassment to the Telangana government, which has been defending its decision to clear the land to auction for developing IT park. So what's next in this case? What's become a fierce face-off in the state? Joining me this evening, my colleague Uma Sudhir. Also with us, Congress's Kumbam Srinivasa Reddy, Krishank Mane of the BRS, Rachana Reddy of the BJP. Uma, before I get to the political voices on the show, briefly give us a sense of the key questions raised by the Apex Court today.
So very scathing comments on the Telangana government by the Supreme Court. They, of course, suo motu took this up this morning after the amicus curiae brought it up. And I must say, they have said that no one is above law as far as cutting of the trees is concerned. And that was a direct attack on the Telangana government. Three things that they have said. What was the compelling hurry to clear this piece of land? Two, whether there was an environment impact assessment report that was done. Three, they also asked whether the necessary permissions were sought. The court also said that from the pictures, from the media inputs that we have got, it is very clear that it does happen to be a forest area. They have also pointed out that just in the month of March, on the 5th of March, in fact, the Supreme Court had said...
Right. We seem to have lost the connection with you there, Uma. We'll try and get back to you on that in a bit. But let me go to Kumbam Srinivasa Reddy. Sir, strong questions being raised by the Supreme Court. Does the Congress government in Telangana, the Telangana state government, find itself on the back foot as far as this issue is concerned? Isn't this an embarrassment?
Good evening, Veera. First of all, I would like to say that we all of us have to respect the Constitution and the courts here. Whatever the Supreme Court, which has taken up the matter suo motu today, has passed an order not to continue work on the site, and definitely government is definitely going to follow what the court has said. And as far as embarrassment is concerned, we'll have to wait because the matter is sub judice right now. We cannot talk much about the subject, as anything which is spoken right now might be a contempt of court again.
Okay, you're saying that that's an important point that you're making there, and I think it's important for all the panelists to remember that the matter is sub judice. I agree. But Krishank Mane, eventually, the initial stages of a case may not eventually be the way it comes out towards the end. Has there been enormous political focus on this case over really genuine environmental issues? Or do you really believe that this is a clear case of environmental protection?
100% it is a clear case of student activist, environmental activist, because let me tell you, the same Hyderabad Central University, earlier Rahul Gandhi ji also visited during Rohit Vemula movement. But this time, we BRS being opposition parties, we have voiced out outside, but we have not entered the premises because we did not want Congress to get a chance to put political color to this. And in fact, it all started with Sri Revant Reddy calling the students foxes in the assembly, which actually flayed this entire issue. And later yesterday, the cabinet minister, Sri Ponguleti Srinivas Reddy, said that these are not students, they are all on payment protesting. And in fact, Sri Bhatti Vikramarka, who's the deputy chief minister, said that there is no forest, there is no wildlife. One thing is, I don't think this matter comes so much into subjudice, because ultimately, after the public uproar in the entire nation, the amicus curiae and the Supreme Court, it reached out to that level. So definitely the concern is Congress, they continue to say that this is not forest, there is no wildlife, there is no deer. But now at least they should realize that it has become Congress government versus entire India, that even Supreme Court is also considering it as a forest. Definitely a learning lesson. And most importantly, Veera, after a weekday of entire work, people would like to relax on a weekend or celebrate in festival. But in Telangana, it has become a threat because the Congress government here chooses the weekend to use their JCB drive, be it on demolition of houses or the same situation here on the trees. I think this has to be
before I get to the
seriously.
BJP, Krishank, hold your thought there for a minute. You've raised an important question. Before I get to Rachna Reddy, I'll go back to the Congress spokesperson. Sir, let's not discuss about the matter that's in front of the apex court. Is there a sense, and there is, the accusation is that why the urgency for it? Why the urgency for this action, and why bulldoze through an action of this nature? Has that been something the Congress government should reconsider or at least introspect into?
Kindly understand one thing, there was no urgency in this matter. The land was handed over to the TGIAC. TGIAC has started work on that. And as all these people are saying, that Monday, Tuesday, every long weekend and Monday and Tuesday were holidays. Do you think 400 acres can be cleared in 4 days? It is not possible to clear 400 acres in 4 days. And definitely, if we have to clear that, probably we would have bought a few hundred more JCBs or bulldozers into the situation. But definitely when the ongoing development work is taking place and somebody is, some corporation is doing it, the contractor definitely would start doing the work. And one more thing I would like to reiterate here, that environment protection has been the Congress's agenda, not from today, but from more than 50 years. 1972 Stockholm conference, where Mrs. Indira Gandhi was, was the Prime Minister. She was only the Prime Minister who has attended that conference. And after that, all the Water Act, Air Act and Environmental Acts, which were brought in by the Congress itself. We are committed towards protection of the environment. There is absolutely unfounded, baseless allegations which are being made. Whatever it is,
Rachna Reddy, unfounded, baseless allegation for political reasons are being made, is the accusation the Congress is making.
Veera, Congress is the mother of all hypocrisies. I mean, because Congress party went to every court in the country, I mean, including all the NGTs in India during the erstwhile party's regime, trying to stop Kaleshwaram, trying to stop Kalamuru Rangareddy, I mean, using everything in the book, and rightly so, because all projects require environmental clearance, forest clearance, and clearance under the Wildlife Protection Act, which the erstwhile government did not have. Here, the Congress party is trying to give it the color of land litigation, that HCU is claiming land, etc., etc. The land litigation is an issue between the government and the university. Nobody cares about it at this point of time, but the Congress party and the Congress party's entire cabinet does not have a single word to say that this urban forest that ought to have been deemed to be a forest has at least 8 scheduled species 8 scheduled species that are in danger of extinction. There is research to it, and research not done for the purpose of this specific felling of trees or this specific clearing of Kanchagachboli. This is exactly what the Congress party does. It accuses other political parties of development at the expense of the human cost and animals and wildlife and environment, and exactly does it exactly the same thing in their regime. What is the, you wanted to
the
sell
BJP,
land
BRS
to make
and the
money.
Congress have
There
made
are
their points very
several
clear.
other
Uma
government-
Sudhir.
Veera,
Okay, Uma
several
Sudhir,
other
just put
governments.
this in perspective for us. Just put this in perspective, put the facts in perspective for this, as far as this context is, this debate, row is concerned.
One, the Congress spokesperson saying that there was no hurry. One cannot buy that argument because obviously it was done over the weekend. It was done hidden from the eyes of cameras, prying cameras anywhere at all. And even the Supreme Court expressed shock that more than 100 acres of that land had been cleared using 60 to 70 JCBs and 60 to 70 trucks which were carrying away all the cleared vegetation. So that is one thing. Second part of it is, while yes, it is true that there were the student unions that were backed by an ABVP, or they could have been an SFI or ISA, they were backed by political parties, but one must recognize that in democracies like ours, no struggle or protest can really be sustained unless they are backed by political parties with some kind of a support, financial or otherwise. The second part of it is, as a Hyderabadi and as a concerned citizen, I would say, it is high time we learnt lessons from Delhi and elsewhere about the quality of the air that is happening and the quality of the environment, what we are doing to this environment. Every ruling party, and BRS is no exception, BJP may be no exception either, and the Congress now not an exception certainly, that they do sacrifice, pay an environment price or cost for in the name of development. And in this case, this was really a carbon sink for Gachibowli that we showcase as Manhattan of Hyderabad is what we call it. It's a concrete jungle. And if you don't even have this little carbon sink, which has been described by many experts as a biodiversity hotspot, and like Rachna was pointing out, with many precious species there, a self-sustaining forest area, actually much more precious, I'm told, that even the KBR Park, which is celebrated within the city and which incidentally was in a sense encroached upon, or its greenery was compromised by the RS government.
Right.
I think it's a good move by the Supreme Court and something that all of us citizens would welcome.
Okay, just a quick yes or no answer from all my three political panelists, starting with the Congress spokesperson. Will politics be kept aside and only purely the interests of the environment and the larger ecosystem be kept in mind as far as this project is concerned? Yes, no, maybe, starting with the Congress spokesperson, sir.
Definitely yes. Definitely yes.
We
are definitely going to...
Would you keep politics... Kishank, you've got to unmute yourself, Kishank, quickly.
Yeah, I've been a university student, so for me, university lands and environment, absolutely less. Yes, our priority is to fight to protect
and Rachna Reddy?
Absolutely, yes, because politics cannot go above and beyond human cost and life cost at that point of time.
I only hope that they are not mere words and all three of you hold to the spirit of what you've said. But thanks very much. Thanks very much to all four of you for joining us here on the show.
We have to stay on this planet.
On that face-off there. But from Hyderabad politics now to the second edition of the Startup Mahakumbh in New Delhi that got underway today. The three-day event to strengthen India's startup ecosystem showcases over 3,000 startups from 50-plus countries, was inaugurated by Union Minister of State for IT Jitin Prasada. Multiple interesting innovations on display, including a flying taxi made in India and startups from prominent Indian institutes across the country. One of the key forces behind that event, Prashant Prakash of Axel Partners, joins me live. Prashant, thanks very much for speaking to us from that event. What's been the key focus of the second edition of the Startup Mahakumbh this year?
This year's the Startup Mahakumbh is larger and covers more pavilions. In last year we just had about 8 pavilions, and this year we have new pavilions such as AI, deep tech, space tech. We have the manufacturing, sector also very well represented. We also have more than 3,000 startups this year compared to just about 1,500 startups last year. We have a special pan-India challenge this year called the Startup Maharati Challenge, where more than 200 startups are going to be given cash grants, one of the largest cash grants ever given in India, and also recognized by DPIIT. We also had more than 1,000 mentoring. We will have more than 1,000 mentoring sessions over the next 2 years. So we focused on ensuring that startups who come to the Mahakumbh have something to take away, both in terms of meeting other startups in India, from India and globally, meeting investors, and being able to collaborate with other startups.
Well, Prashant, one of the big focus areas, and this is a question that's been raised several times, is on AI. Does India really have the ability and the promise of delivering a disruptor like, let's say, DeepSeek?
I think the foundational models are important for our nation. As a sovereign country, we need to have sovereign models, and we need to be able to have our own model that we can use for India-specific use cases. For example, more multilingual, more voice-based use cases. So I think it is important, but I think what is more interesting for India is the application layer now becoming more large, and more enterprises through agentic technologies adopting the application, the AI-led applications. And I think we will see this year a lot of Indian startups now really take advantage of the global application layer advantages and some of the infra layer advantages. So yes, I think this is not a DeepSeek moment from India. I think we will see gradual organic growth, not one big mega event like in the case of DeepSeek.
Right, it's a very important point, nuanced point that you're making, Prashant. There's one that's been made several times that, look, it's not about one event like DeepSeek, but possibly application is the space for India. Thanks very much for joining us from the Startup Mahakumbh. Also with us this evening, Venk Krishnan of Nuvare, a noted Bengaluru VC. We'll also try and go across to a young startup voice, Nischal Rapi Reddy, from that Startup Mahakumbh, co-founder of the Ascription Private Limited, showcasing some innovative ideas like Godar at that Startup Mahakumbh. Venk, first to you. We're talking of an era of Trump's tariff actions. That's the big global concern. You're off to the US from the Startup Mahakumbh. What are the key challenges you foresee from the venture capital ecosystem point of view?
I think, still from a venture capital perspective, I think we are still positive. But I think one thing which will be of concern is the travel to the US for these startups, startup founders, because I am hearing more and more that, especially since Trump has arrived, there's more and more scrutiny on visas, be it B1 visas or, business visas. And the second thing is employment, in the US, hiring H-1B people to send them to US, or trying to find ways to get them to work in India. So there is going to be some challenges which I believe can be overcome over a period. But I think at present that is one issue where VCs are really grappling with and saying, what companies can invest so that these current situation with what Trump is putting together is going to impact us.
Right, interesting point that you make there, Venk. In terms of the local factors as well from India, what would be the key sort of areas for startups to be worried about and perhaps be bullish about in terms of sectors as well, as you're seeing from the Startup Mahakumbh and what's been on display? You've often spoken about AI and tech, but specifically in terms of sectors, which are the sectors that are really doing that you would possibly be bullish on as a VC firm, and which are the sectors that you think are best to keep away from at this point of time?
I think, India is still a consumer market, and there's going to be a lot of companies innovating in the consumer space. And that has been the trend in India. But coming down to the opportunities, I think more and more AI-driven, like what Prashant had mentioned about, applications using AI is where the opportunities lie within India, right? And I think I keep repeating this. One of the biggest advantages India has over many of the other countries is the fact that we have the largest software resources in the world, right? And some of these people have learned a lot of domains having worked with big corporates in the US, right? So they have great domain knowledge. And that is an area where we can really leverage to a large extent in terms of developing AI-based solutions to some of these applications. So I think those are the opportunities which India has. And I think obviously SaaS-driven AI or whatever you call agentic AI, which we talk about, is going to be opportunities which every VC will be looking at because ultimately, other than the consumer space, I think US is the market for any of these kind of products.
Okay, we keep talking about the US. Nishchal Rapi Reddy, who's part of that Startup Mahakumbh, joins me live right now. Thanks very much, Nishchal, for being with us. Give us a sense of what you think as a young startup really faces as challenges in the ecosystem today, and also a little bit about Godar that you are showcasing there at the Startup Mahakumbh.
Yes. So basically, Godar, we are animal identification and recognition application. So let's say similar to fingerprints for humans, cattle have these muzzle patterns on their nose. So we leverage AI and machine learning to uniquely identify these cattle. And right now we have done a pilot phase with government of Andhra Pradesh and successfully implemented that as well. So again, coming to these challenges we faced were that many, since we are a new startup, we could, let's say, networking is one thing that we've seen. And building these connects, contacts, getting these right opportunities and all that are big challenges that we faced. And again, Startup Mahakumbh, as a part of Startup Mahakumbh over here, these networkings and all these, we have got connects with multiple investors, angel investors, and government agencies as well. So that was one opportunity that we've seen here.
Okay, if there is one thing you would like to tell a VC, because we have a VC on the panel, what would that be? And then I'll ask Venk to give you a bit of advice from his side.
Well, when VCs, let's say these companies, as a startup ourselves, we've approached multiple VCs. So they usually in the initial round itself, when we show them the pitch decks and all, they call us for screenings and all, but again, we never get to the end stage because they only judge us at the starting stage itself. That would be one thing that we just suggest. Maybe let's say even at least a screening stage would be a good opportunity where we can have one-to-one meetings, one-to-one calls, and we can tell you more in depth about our startups, etc.
Okay.
Venk?
No. Yeah, I think, this is a standard problem I hear from most startup founders is they're not getting responses from the VCs or they're not getting a good, go-to-market or whatever strategies. But one thing which I can say is you have to remember that a VC it's not VC's money, it is somebody else's money, right? We are managing somebody else's money. So we have to make sure that there is a clear path to revenue and a clear path to profitability, right? If you can show a VC that you have a clear path to getting revenue, a clear path to the market you're going after, right? You have a product market fit.
All right.
These are things which a VC will look at, and if you can show that, I think no VC will hesitate to meet you.
Okay.
Okay.
Venk has tons of money, but I don't have tons of time, so I'll have to end this conversation right now. Thanks very much to the both of you for joining us here on the Southern View. We'll try and get the best from that Startup Mahakumbh as well on this show in the next 2 days, but that's all we have time for. Thanks for watching.
One of the worst earthquakes hit Thailand recently, and the tragedy is still unfolding. You can see some sniffer dogs here. Authorities have told me that they had located some vital signs, but they have not been able to pull anyone out. Question as to how did the 4 Chinese nationals manage to get inside such a highly fortified area. They managed to get in. They were successful in getting some 32 documents that established that Chinese connection to this site. It's also about a larger conspiracy that could be at hand. Whether the Chinese materials were substandard, all of that will have to be investigated.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
The neighborhood that we are in right now, you take what's happening around us, whether it's Bangladesh or some other countries, there are violent revolutions that are taking place, all in an effort towards democracy. How do you view that, especially in the context of Bhutan's history being completely opposite of that, and you have the advantage of history, apart from, of course, leadership lessons?
So this is exactly the point I've been trying to make.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. We have seen 2 days of intense deliberations over the Waqf Amendment Bill. It was passed by the Lok Sabha well after midnight on Wednesday, and today a replay of that is expected in the Rajya Sabha. But in this show today, in the course of the next 20 minutes, we talk about the future. Well, laws get made, but do they make the impact that they are made for? What will it take for the Waqf Act to be the measure of reform that it is being seen as? There needs to be awareness, trust and confidence building, but more than that, the sheer logistics of it. We're talking about over 8 lakh immovable Waqf properties. It's one of the largest repositories of religious and community-owned land globally. So what are the big challenges in the implementation of the Waqf law? And remember, the key here is implementation. The mandated digitization, audits, dispute resolution, the problem of encroachments, inclusive councils and boards. Will there be speedier disposal of cases? How will state Waqf boards work in tandem with central Waqf councils? As the law will not have a retrospective impact, will there be a cleanup of the backlog of cases? That is what we will discuss. But before that, here's a glimpse of the Rajya Sabha debate that took place today.
ट्रांसपेरेंसी को, अकाउंटेबिलिटी को, एफिशिएंसी को, ये 3 बड़ा पैमाना है. ये हमारा पूरा एक्सरसाइज जो है इस पे केंद्रित होता है. कई बार लोगों ने हमारा खिलाफ, इस बिल का खिलाफ, इस प्रस्तावना के खिलाफ में लोगों ने कहना शुरू किया है. तो मैं आज जरूर इसका जवाब देना चाहता हूं कि हम किसी का धार्मिक भावना को चोट पहुंचाने के लिए नहीं है.
इनको 2024 में इनको याद आ गया वक्फ बोर्ड ड्रैकोनियन लॉ है, कम्युनिटी को अपील कर रहे हैं. 2024 में याद आया. क्यों 2024 में याद आया? 10 साल क्यों आपको याद नहीं आया? 2024 में इसलिए याद आया क्योंकि 400 का नारा इनको दिए थे, 240 में निपट गए थे. इनको अब समझ में नहीं आ रहा कैसे अपना वोट बैंक बढ़ाएं. इस एक्ट को लेके आके कम्युनल पोलराइजेशन करने का काम कर रहे हैं.
हम लिप सर्विस नहीं करते हैं, हम रियल सर्विस करते हैं. We do the real service. 50 years later, 100 years later, we will not be there. But the course of action which we take today, that is going to make India stronger, that we have to understand. और आपने 70 साल का एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देख लिया. 70 साल का एक्सपेरिमेंट आपने करके देख लिया, बांट करके देख लिया, वोट के पीछे पढ़ के देख लिया। 2013 का अमेंडमेंट ला करके भी 2014 में वहां बैठने के लिए मजबूर हो गए।
They say that it is only administration purpose. No, it is not so. It is not reform. It is to control and to take over the administration of a certain community, since it is anti-secular and ultra-virus of the Constitution. The solution is 5 kilometers away. The Supreme Court is there to struck down, if at all it is legislated or passed. It will. We are very certain about it. The government says often, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. But they have a different policy for Muslims: exclusion, marginalization, and dispossession.
Okay, joining us now is Zeenat Shaukat Ali. She's a Muslim scholar. Thank you, Zeenat, for joining us on this broadcast. Well, the important question here is, despite digitizing 3 lakh records to improve transparency in the past, the Waqf board continues to face governance issues. And I understand that the legal disputes, the mismanagement that one talks about is also the sheer logistics of it, 8 lakh properties. And a key challenge here is also the irreversible nature of Waqf properties, which also probably leads to prolonged legal battles. Now, with this new bill and also probably, the law in place in the next few days, how do you expect all of this to be addressed?
Well, it will require a lot of administrative skill. It will require formations of boards with educated, concerned citizens, Muslims, basically, and to oversee the matter and to see to it that this entire, what shall we say? I can't say a black hole, but what we have made, this entire corruption that has crept into a system which was created for purposes of charity and endowment to help the poor, to help education, to help the sick, which has not been used and in its proper manner. How we are going to be able to administer, so it has to be a very well thought of and extremely, well planned format has to be laid down for each state. I do not think that the central powers, all the powers should lie with the center. No. They can give an outline as to how the states can function. And based on that outline, what is the percentage you will give to education? Because I think that is one of the priorities of the Muslim. And sad to say that, when I've been looking at education, I've seen that the funds for education have been depleted. There have been many, like Maulana Azad Fund, and I've got a dozen names, where they have, the funds have been reduced over the years. I don't know for what reason, but they have. But now those have to come back, those funds have to be concentrated into education so that, so that percentage of education for health, for poverty, upliftment, for widows, for maintenance of mosques and eidgahs and, qabristans. Also, it has to be divided, so in what percentages and how you can multiply that money, how you can invest it correctly, and how you can be transparent.
Right.
Because every institution has, registration. It has the chartered accountancy. It has to submit its whatever financial status at the end of a financial year. It has to be done systematically, and for that you need to have a proper board formulated and a proper people, not with high-flying egos, but with with the power of dedication to work.
Okay.
And dedication to uplift.
I'll just come back to you because you've raised a very important point. Mahima Singh of the Congress party also joins us. Mahima, we saw your party fiercely oppose the bill, saying that it is unconstitutional. Now, the bill talks about ending arbitrary property claims, and that's what I was asking Zeenat ma'am also. She's put forward some very important points. Now, Section 40, which allows Waqf boards to unilaterally declare any property as Waqf, has been removed. Now, throughout the discussion, we also saw several properties, private properties being named, somewhere in Haryana, or temples in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, 400 acres inhabited by Christian and Hindu families in Munambam. All of these, are being seen as unlawfully declared as Waqf properties under Section 40. Now, with this new bill, these land will be free for rightful owners. Do you see this as one measure that you can welcome?
Jai Hind. Vasudha, I was listening to the Islamic scholar very carefully, and I do regard her resource that she embodies. But I would, I would raise this point here that has been raised by many honorable members of parliament yesterday and today on both in both the houses, that you see the BJP's shifting stance is the first objectionable point here. From 1995 till today, the BJP has been shifting stances. 1995, their own honorable members of parliament had supported this bill, voted in favor of the bill. 2014, the Bharatiya Janata Party's manifesto said that they will be, fighting against, they will be bringing laws against those who are encroaching upon the Waqf lands. Now, 10 years later, 11 years later, today what we are seeing is propaganda, is fear-mongering amongst the masses of this country, and I would rather say appeasement of the majority. Because you see what our honorable members of parliament have also said today, Vasudha, is that the BJP is building this propaganda because its intention was to get 400 plus, 400 par karke संविधान बदलना था. Rather, they are at a juncture where they have run short of issues, and they have run short of all the accusations of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru also. Okay. So you see, at first 12 governments. So here we are where, this committee was formed, this JPC was formed. In the JPC, initially there was a constant opposition, as our MP in Rajya Sabha, Syed Nasir Hussain ji, has indicated towards. Initially, there was major opposition from all the members. Okay. Then for the first time in the history, non-stakeholders were brought into this committee, and that's how this bill was bulldozed, by undermining the discussion, the clause by clause discussion, which has been constantly demanded. And now today it is being debated. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope that this bulldozing of democracy, this bulldozing of the minority rights, this undermining of the constitutional provisions will not succeed. And I hope
you heard the Congress spokesperson out, and clearly the Congress has a lot of reservations, starting with the working of the JPC community. But I wanted to ask you, how are you looking at taking this bill and also a law in the next few days from reform to perform? Because we are talking about 8 lakh immovable properties here. Tribunal decisions can only be appealed by way of petitions and not civil suits, which of course allow petitioners greater rights. There are around 58,000 properties that have been taken over unlawfully. How do you see all of this being addressed by this law?
Well, Vasudha, the intention of this law is that it wants to implement the constitutional supremacy. It is extremely hypocritical of the Congress party that the basic structure of the Indian constitution is right to justice and right to appeal. And the Congress party prevented a Hindu, Muslim, Christian that right because the tribunal decision in the case of the Congress party was final. We are essentially challenging that, and we are implementing, in fact, changing it and implementing Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar's constitution. This is not a retrospective bill, so only the disputes which lie in the court, the civil court will take the final call, and the government disputed properties is what the final is the ones which will be discussed in the court, and after the civil court takes the final call, the appropriate action will be taken. But she was speaking about 1995. Let me quote Sitaram Kesari, the welfare minister of the Congress party, from the debate of the parliament in 1995, and I quote Mr. Sitaram Kesari. And Mr. Sitaram Kesari says that as all the honorable members are aware that the financial position of the Waqf board is extremely weak, it has become an institution where corruption has happened and non-transparent working has become a norm. It is not able to disburse salary to their employees. When the Bharatiya Janata Party is implementing it, the Congress party forgets Sitaram Kesari, probably because it does not come from the first family. She was talking about 1995. Let me quote 1995 Rajya Sabha MP and the alliance member of the Congress party, Syed Masadul Hussain, who in fact went to the extent and said that even non-Muslims should be made the mutawallis. But they will not do it because they did not stand with Shah Bano. How can you expect the Congress party to now stand with reform? Now, I have also the copy of the Sachar committee in front of me.
Okay,
The Sachar committee
before
was
you
not
go to
made by
Sachar
the
committee, let me
Bharatiya
get in a response from Mahima. Mahima, would you like to respond to that?
Very much, very much. You see, look at the plight of the Bharatiya Janata Party today, Vasudha. They're having to lean on the arguments made by our members and our allies. They cannot talk about what Murli Manohar Joshi ji said or LK Advani ji said or Sushma Swaraj ji said because they stood in support of it. They will not talk about the manifesto of their own party in 2014 wherein it is clearly written that they will protect minority rights and they will, of course they were lying and that has become amply clear today. But in their manifesto it is mentioned that they will, legislate to oppose the encroachments, illegal encroachments on Waqf lands. Today, what they are fighting is the very provisions of Waqf, are the provisions given guaranteed under Articles 14, 15, 25, 26 and 30. Today what they are fighting is the Indian judiciary because the Indian judiciary has guaranteed Waqf by user clause, Waqf by user provision and the Bharatiya Janata Party has trampled it. And that is what they have always wanted to do. You see, they are fulfilling their bucket list ambitions. This is just the beginning, just the tip of the iceberg, Vasudha. I would reiterate what I've been saying on all your debates. This is the tip of the iceberg. And I wish to remind you and the viewers of Martin Niemöller's words. First they came for socialists, then they came for trade unionists, then they came for Jews, and then they came for me, and then there was nobody to speak.
Okay,
so this is the
Pradeep, Waqf by user, that whole provision has become, too contentious because while the ruling party has been saying that there will be nothing, this law will not be applied retrospectively, opposition members are saying that with concessions, specifically to government-owned properties, or for that matter, the ones that are facing disputes, this is hardly something that would provide relief to Muslim communities. How would you reassure them that their properties are safe, especially if they don't have documents?
Well, Vasudha, the Congress party yet again is standing with the builder lobby like the Congress party did not stand with Shahbanos. The Congress party is not standing with the poor Muslims and Christians. Unfortunately, in any debate with the Congress party, they do not come and read. She has not read the bill and again she is misquoting the Supreme Court. Yes, we are obviously removing the encroachment from the Waqf property. This is why out of 9 lakh acres, roughly 1,40,000 acres is agricultural farmland, which is still being encroached by Waqf. 1,06,000 acres is shops, 89,000 acres is houses, 3,861 acres is pond, 2,042 acres is schools. Because of the Congress party backing the builder mafia, all of this is now coming under Waqf. The Congress party did not do anything for the welfare of the poor Muslims, and this is what is written in the Sachar committee. Just shaking your hand will not mean anything. She even misquoted the Supreme Court of India. Let me quote Sayyid Fazal Pukia Thangal versus Union of India, where the Kerala High Court had used the Supreme Court precedent. The Waqf is a conglomeration of individuals. It is a statutory body. It is pure and simple. It is not a religious body. And the Congress party has its member of parliament, Priyanka Vadra, coming from Kerala. Priyanka Vadra coming from Kerala. And you do not see the
we'll just come to that individual cases, Pradeep, in just a bit. Let me get in. Yes, let me get in a comment from the expert here.
Vasudha, brief response. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
This is unfair. You have the Congress party interrupting.
5 seconds. Mahima, just let him finish. I'm coming to you. Okay, Mahima, you wanted to respond before I go to Zina.
I'll just make my point in 5 seconds.
Okay, quickly.
I will make my point.
We have to go to Zina, ma'am. She's been waiting.
I will make my point.
Mahima, please.
Rahul Gandhi comes as a member. I will not let you speak, Mahima. You wait and watch in the debate because you are interrupting me for the 3rd consecutive time. Rahul Gandhi comes as a member of parliament, used to come as a member of parliament from Kerala. Priyanka Vadra comes as a member of parliament from Kerala. Christian community, whether it is in Ernakulam or other districts, has openly been the biggest community, which is at the
okay, that's a very valid point, Mahima. Would you like to answer that? The Bishops' Council of Kerala, wholeheartedly supporting this bill, is a warning for you, isn't it?
This is the same whataboutery that the Bharatiya Janata Party did when farm laws were being brought by
okay, Pradeep, let her respond now.
Okay, can we just
have Mahima now, please?
The whataboutery went on even at the time of farm laws.
Can we just have
What happened to the farm laws? Mr. Modi had to fold his hands and seek the countries and the farmers forgiveness, because the same attitude of whataboutery was being adopted by the BJP. They went reading pages after pages on these shows, and then at the end, Mr. Modi had to bow down. And the same fate will be met by this bill, because this whataboutery is not the answer to the critical question.
Pradeep, before I come back to you,
our democracy today.
Yes, Zeenat,
So how is speaking for the Christian committee whataboutery? Can you please tell me? Just random English words does not mean anything. You are making absolute baseless sense, like your leader Rahul Gandhi who makes jalebi from factory. Tell me how is speaking about the deprived Christian community
whataboutery is not the answer.
Christians not minorities, Aina.
Whataboutery is not the answer.
Christians not
Why did you bring
okay, let me go to the expert here. Zeenat, on the problem of encroachments and litigation, because the government is also saying that the law will not be applied retrospectively, but the opposition says that the exemption to government properties and disputed ones at concession is not enough. Do you see any faster movement of cases, dispute resolution happening because of this law?
You see, yeah, before I answer your question, may I make a submission to you?
Yes, please.
You see, the entire debate that has taken place, I would like to say that this bill goes beyond religious lines, and it raises the crucial question whether India is a secular state and should hold all religious endowments, not only the Waqf, to the same standards of governance and transparency. And yes, the Waqf bill is opening the way, it is paving the way for reform in the Waqf system. The government should also open up greater responsibility to all religious endowments across to ensure that the intended charitable charity that has been given is being used. So what I'm saying is that, like we have in our country, and I'm quite surprised that we're not moving towards that end, that we should have a uniform law for all religious endowments, because this is not only the Waqf. The Waqf belongs to only one section of Indians, but there are the Parsis, there are the Jains, there are the Sikhs, there are the Hindus, there are etc., etc. All of them have religious endowments. And so why should we not have a uniform law, like a uniform civil code, one country, one law, by which certain standards are maintained?
That's a very important point. Let me ask the BJP spokesperson here. Pradeep Bhandari, can we have him? Pradeep, how do you see this suggestion that there needs to be a uniform law for all endowments? I know that